I started using when I was 14 years old. I got abused and picked on a lot at school because I had freckles and whatever. It started from there. Harassed and beaten up a lot by the kids at school. You know, not having a lot of confidence. You start believing what they say. I got to a certain point, I started getting depressed and having mental issues. I started hating the world and every day was just painful. I got raised a Catholic, responsible, respect your elders, be nice to everyone, respect people who are different. And to be honest, because I was that gentle and that nice and you know, that respectful, I was kind of an easy target for bullies. And as it turns out, I got offered marijuana one day and it calmed me down and relaxed me mentally. After a little while, I noticed that I was addicted. I couldn't go an hour without smoking dope. And every minute of my day was spent with my head in the sand, hiding from how much I hated myself and how much I hated the world. By 18 I'd started smoking meth. I got introduced to it one day by a friend and I started smoking meth because instead of feeling lifeless and no energy to live my life or even try to live my life, meth just gave me energy and confidence and, you know, got up and partied and became more social. But the more I started getting addicted to meth, I started withdrawing again. I wouldn't go out with my friends because I was too worried about when and where I was going to have my next fix. Shame was a big part of it because I was ashamed that I was a drug addict, and I was ashamed that just my whole life revolved around getting my next hit. I just didn't care about anything else. You know, using meth after a while leads you into a dark underworld of people in society where the only people you know, like you just stop hanging around with your good friends and just start hanging around with users and you know, unsavory characters. And you know, the world of drugs leads into a lot of other illegal areas of society and activities. I'd have a bong basically packed on my bedside table, ready to smoke the instant I woke up. I wouldn't even open my eyes. As soon as I woke up, I'd just sit up, lean over, grab that bong, and I'd smoke 5 cones of marijuana before I'd even get out of bed. I'd end up having about 50 cones of marijuana every single day. You just used it, yeah, to hide from the world and everything in it, and hide from yourself, your own emotions, your own feelings. My family were always trying to help me out, and I'd lie, cheat and steal from them to get money. You know, I'd steal little things from them, you know, that they hadn't, you know, I'd justify everything. Oh, they haven't used this item in a long time, so I'm just going to take it and sell it and get drugs, and oh, they'll forgive me because I'm a drug user and I've got issues, you know, so it's not a big deal. You got people who are down on life, they got no confidence about their situation changing, they just hate life, they're depressed, they've got no emotional energy or strength to, you know, give their dreams a crack. They've all got hopes and dreams, and they're just too afraid to try to change because they're just convinced they're not going to be able to. I knew for years that I had to change because, like I said, I had hopes and dreams of, you know, having kids, getting married, starting a family, having a good life. But I was just totally convinced that it'd never happen. And I wanted to, and I realised to myself, well, I'm not going to change unless I try. But I knew what I had to do, but I just couldn't bring myself to start trying. And then I started smoking heroin as well. This was about the age of 21. So I was on pot for 3 or 4 years, then I started smoking meth as well. And then a couple of years later, I'd put pancakes of heroin on top of my marijuana. Every person you hung around was hateful, spiteful, devious, evil. You just didn't know any nice people. It's all like separate worlds. You got all drug users, ugly people, they all hang around each other and know each other. And then you got society, you know, who are nice, caring, compassionate and that, but you don't know any of them. I'd wake up in the morning and think, it really sucks that I didn't die in my sleep. Yeah, one day I was just sitting there and I actually had an epiphany. I felt like I just got hit in the head by a freight train. And yeah, just people were dying all around me, getting arrested, going to jail, you know. And I just thought, I'm going to die from an overdose real soon, or I'm going to get caught and end up in jail for a long time. I've only got 3 options. Kill myself, end up in prison, stay the way I am and see how long I can put up with the pain of life, or there's a 4th road I can go. I can fight and I can change and I can go after my dreams and hopes, because that dream is the only thing keeping you alive. Well, I suffered for 10, 15 years of drug abuse and hanging around the ugliest people in the world, and I just thought, well, I'm either going to die or die trying. You know, I'm going to try and clean myself up. I'm going to try and get that dream of getting the job and finding a wife and kids. You know, I'm just going to give it a really hard crack. And at the rehab centre, they had a program where you studied yourself and learnt about yourself, trying to find out what led you down the path you did to drugs, because more than likely, if you don't learn why you ended up the way you did, as soon as you got out, you'd go straight back. I was at that rehab centre for about 12 months. For the first 3 months, no, you couldn't have any visitors or anything. And it was about 3 months of being clean before my brain even started sobering out. After time, I just got less and less physically dependent on drugs. I got more mentally aware of who I was and where I was going. After about 3 years of being completely sober, that's when I realised I was actually ready to take the next step. Yeah, and try to look for that special someone. I've been with her for 3 years now. We've never had a serious argument or fight. If we do, we talk it out and come to a compromise. My only biggest problem is since I quit drugs, I spent years trying to find work. In 1 year I applied for 1,300 jobs, and that's no lie, 25, 30 jobs a week, every single week for 4 years. In that 4 years I had 6 job interviews out of about 6,000 job applications, and no job out of those 6 interviews. People held my past against me. That dream is what keeps your wheels turning. If I didn't have that dream of having a family, I wouldn't have been able to crawl out of the life I was living. I wouldn't have been able to get away from drugs. I wouldn't have been able to get out of the gutter, so to speak. And now that I've seen, look, I've got me family now, I've got a loving partner who wants to marry me. There's only one thing holding me back, and that's someone out there giving me a chance to prove myself in a job. There's no other way of saying it. Like, I'm just not the same person I was. I'm completely different. Like, the person I was is completely dead. You know, they don't exist anymore. And when I look at what I used to be in the mirror, I'm partially disgusted by who I used to be. I'm happy. I'm perfectly happy just because I got a roof over my head and I got a blanket and a pillow. I can sleep comfortably. I got hot water. You know, I'm just that happy that I've got the basic necessities to keep doing what I'm doing. Every day I just wanted to die and hide in a gutter, and now I wake up every morning, I got kids, little kids smiling at me and, you know, saying daddy, 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 you know, they fill you full of love and fill your heart full of light. You feed off all the positive energy you see in the world. You just don't care about the small hurdles anymore because you've already moved mountains. I don't know, you just think every day how wonderful, you know, life's given me a second chance.